So here's something I've been wondering about for the past couple months. Has the internet stigmatized being a beginner? Being as I'm someone struggling through my mid-20s, I've had the unique opportunity to be a part of the last generation that will remember what life was like before the advent of the internet as a staple in modern consumer culture. More specific still, however, is that I'm also a member of the only generation to have grown up with the internet and just technology as it is currently in general. I've experienced firsthand the internet transforming from an odd curiosity to the modern centerpiece of today's interaction with all sorts of media. And as it became a platform for more and more people, our standards and expectations for what we experienced online rose in proportion. In addition, the technology to create stuff for the web has become exponentially more accessible over the years, allowing people to get into the game who might have otherwise stayed away. Unfortunately, the side effect of this is that we've become less and less tolerant of content that fails to meet our revised expectations. Combine that with the fact that more people are using the internet than ever before, you have an increasingly jaded online consumer lost in a sea of creative newcomers looking to make their mark. This seems to inevitably lead to ridicule when someone fails to meet whatever standard the bar is currently set at, a fact that has never really sat too well with me. I've never been a fan of the shaming culture that is so pervasive online these days. I'm not really sure if this is an attitude that stems from the inherent disconnect one feels when posting online, the whole power of anonymity, or maybe it's just harder for people who don't create to understand just how damning even a single comment like this can be to the creative spirit. Perhaps it's a combination of both. Regardless, it's a practice I can't help but loathe. Posting anything online, even if it's something that doesn't meet your expectations or caters to your taste, should be, if nothing else, respected. It is an act of bravery because the creator risks a reaction so negative like we see all too often to people who are green. Vocalizing your distaste directly and without any regard for the person on the other side of the computer screen can kill creativity, in newcomers especially. Creative individuals identify with their work on a deeply personal level, and if you're watching this channel, I'm sure you're well aware of this. To insult their work can be considered the same as insulting them. And a lot of the times, these comments do just that, skipping the middleman and insulting the creator themselves for making something that that person personally didn't find satisfying. The entire point of being a beginner is just that. These people are beginning. They're just starting out. They still have tons of room left to grow, and who knows where these people could go if we encouraged them and gave them constructive criticism as opposed to just insulting them for not meeting our own standards. Me, myself, I used to be terrible. I didn't have any innate talent for drawing or writing or illustration or video making or anything like this. When I first started each of these disciplines, it was a freaking train wreck. And thank God when I was a little kid, because I was growing up with the internet, I didn't have all these websites where I could post all these things when I was like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old. The things I did back then were horrifying. If people saw the work I did then, today, no one would even believe me that I could ever come close to creating the things I do today, and I'm not even that great. There are people who have grown more in a year than I have in nearly a decade I've spent working on my craft. I'm no saint. I've definitely said things about people's works. There are tons of things online that I'm not a fan of and don't think deserve the attention that they get. I'm definitely not perfect. But that being said, I would never go out of my way to tell a creator directly that I don't like their work in an insulting manner. I'll give critique if it's warranted or asked for, but just to leave a comment that's a video link to Calculon from Futurama saying that this was so terrible that it gave him cancer? Why? What do you get out of doing that? Out of breaking somebody's spirit? Because even if I don't like the work, as a creator myself, I appreciate the intent. I've always appreciated the intent. People who want to add something to the world, that's a great thing to do, and it should be encouraged, especially when our culture is so consumer focused. We just want people to buy, and not to create. Creating something, even as simple as just a YouTube video, just some person sitting in front of a camera and talking, kind of like me, is a big deal. Not to mention, I just respect them as a fellow human being. This backlash culture online, I feel, has stigmatized the idea of being a beginner. When people are so quick to lambaste anything that doesn't match the quality of the pervading norm online, people who are just starting out and want to share things with others are suddenly ashamed for not magically being that good right out of the gate. and as a result, may just end up quitting altogether. The saddest part is that being a beginner can be a lot of fun. Right now, I'm just starting to learn After Effects, and every small step forward is mind-blowing. There's always something new to figure out, and progress is almost immediate. The first time I learned how to do like a 3/4 perspective of a human head was amazing to me. It's something I take completely for granted now, but back in the day, it was mind-blowing that I could learn how to do something like that. You know, the simplest things are the biggest steps forward in the beginning. And every day you can learn something new. And that's really what this whole thing is about, isn't it? Being a little bit better, a little bit smarter, a little bit more impassioned, and a little bit just more confident than you were yesterday. We're all at different places on our own path. And just because we're farther along than others, or even if we're on a completely different path, it doesn't devalue the path and progress of others. I think it'd do us all well to remember that. Think before you bash a beginner. Because if nothing else, their improvement just means that there's more great stuff for you to enjoy on the web. And who doesn't want that? My name is Tom Oliver, and you've been watching Rebel Pixels, the show all about empowering and impassioning the DIY creator on the internet. If that's you and you love the indie mindset and you want to live and die by your art, hit that subscribe button. It should be in like one of these corners. Cameras mirror stuff and it weirds me out. One of these corners has a little button for subscribing. And I'd love to have you join the conversation. Every week I post videos like this all the time talking about art and creativity and tips and tricks for doing stuff on the web. Today's question, everyone was a beginner, so what was your beginning experience like? Did you kind of stay offline and did everything and showed your friends and your family? Or did you just jump into the internet and took the beating when people bashed your stuff and just improved over time? Let me know in the comments below, because there's a lot of younger people out there right now who can't even fathom life without the internet, and your experience being a beginner is completely different than mine was. I'd be interested to hear what people like you have to say. So that's all I got for this week. My name is Tom Oliver. This is Rebel Pixels, just reminding you guys that we might be indie, but doesn't mean we're alone. Catch you all next week.